Alright guys, I thought I would make a little video of some of the stuff that I've learned over the past couple days. And so I created a mission. And just ground weapon testing. Alright, so here we are in the F18. And that now, as you see on my HUD, says ATC. You have automatic throttle control in the F18. And you have to map a button to it, but it's under HOTAS controls. And so now with a combination of that and barometric altitude hold, see the throttle just jumped up by itself. I haven't moved anything, and it's just doing its thing. I think in the actual aircraft the throttle doesn't move, it controls it in the back, but you know, whatever. So that's handy, and then you can do attitude hold as well, and now we'll stay in a lazy left-hand circle, kind of over my targets back there. Just get this stick out of the way, and let's go over a little bit of the ground unit stuff. So, alright, when you have the Litening pod, if it is off, when you look at your TAC page, you have nothing up here. But this button right here, when you flip your FLIR switch to standby or on, you'll have the FLIR button up here. You click on it, and it's got like a 2-minute, maybe 4-minute warm-up time. While we're waiting for that to warm up, though, I'm going to show you a little something on fuel. So if we go to our fuel page, alright, so these are my 3 external tanks here, and you can see that, well, there, it's not going to be doing anything right now. Okay, so it's drawing out of all 3 tanks. But obviously, the first tanks that we really want to get out of, if we're on a long cruise, the first tanks that we really want to get rid of are the exteriors. So I want to burn fuel out of these and not the center tank. Your cross feeds are right here. So if you go to center tank and left click, puts it down to stop. And now you'll see we're not cross feeding out of the center tank anymore. We're only cross feeding out of the exterior tanks. So we'll come back to that and revisit that in a little bit. But then we can just drop those 2 and have just our center tank, which then we can flip back on and we'll feed out of it. So let's go back to our stores page, and I know it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to let the aircraft turn here so that we can see the screen as I'm working on it. And I know I got crossfeed off. And our Litening pod is actually already up and running. You can see I got 3 ships out there. I don't know if I loaded cruises or not. I did not load cruises. I just loaded 2 GBU 10s. So we're just going to go after these ground. We could probably drop one on a ship, but we'll see how much damage we do to these little bunkers first. Okay, so now we've got kind of back into where we can get on our weapons page. So to set up our weapons, we're gonna click on them, and now you see I've got the GBU 16 here. Let me zoom in. So what we want to do is we have to program the code number. So for this, I'm just going to use the standard code number, but you can see if I step through, both of them have X's underneath. So what we need to do is code, and it brings up on your radio here code, and I'm going to zoom out for just a second because I don't want to make everybody sick. And we're just going to do 1688. Obviously, you'd want to use something different than the default, but 1688. And now, if I look in here, 1688. Alright, so we'll hit step, and it's still set up for code, so we'll just hit enter again. And you can step through all of them, even if you've got Mavericks and GBUs and Harpoons. Well, Harpoon, I don't think Harpoons use it, but it doesn't matter. You can step through all of these and just program them all at the same time. That way you don't have to set up different codes each time you go through. Now that that's done, we need to set our mode. And the best mode that I've found is auto. So we'll hit auto. That turns our mechanical fuse off. We want our electronic fuse to instant. And the GBUs don't need the mechanical fuse, so because they've got a seeker in the front. We can also, in UFC, we can set up the quantity, and I don't really know what the multiplier does. I don't know that yet. So anyway, that's basically the weapon setup. Now we can come over here, and we need to hit our well, you can click on velocity vector, and it slaves this to your velocity vector. Now, at any point in time, you can cage and uncage it. Oh, I said that. Not working now. Oh, I don't have that screen active, that's why. So if I cage it, it basically flips the camera back in. Uncage it. Now you can flip it on your velocity vector, and that will slave it to your velocity vector, which is good if you don't have a waypoint, you don't know where the targets are. You can kind of give yourself a dive angle, put the target right in the middle of your velocity vector, and then you'll see the target. You can area track it, and then, fine tune it from there. But for this, I'm going to take that off, and we're just going to have it in snow cloud mode. Now, in the camera mode in CCD, I find it really hard to find targets. So we're going to put it on FLIR. Now, declutter will get rid of your airspeed, Mach number, and altitude, I believe. The zoom here is, you can control that with your radar your radar elevation knob if you have that mapped in your HOTAS controls. So that's pretty functional. And then we will zoom out here. We gotta get turned. Alright, and then TDC slew. I can bring the camera back. And I just want to find Sochi, which is kind of off our left wing, so I'll bring the little dot down. I'm horrible at finding these things. I gotta wait till I get circled back around. We're gonna put this out here again. Now you can do this, you can set up waypoints and do this. I don't know how to do it yet, so I can't show you guys that. Alright, there's my 3 ships, which means the Sochi airport. Is up this way somewhere. And I'll throttle depress to give myself an area track now that I found the airport. We'll zoom in, and there's our bunkers right there. So I'm just going to drop 1 GBU right in the middle. Alright, so now when we go back up to HUD, oh, I need to make sure our laser is armed. Flare is on, laser is armed. Now you have a trigger option here. So this allows you, if you're in manual mode, to manually laser the trigger. But we've got the trigger armed, the laser is armed, and we've got it designated. We have 3.2 miles to target, and I'm trying to think anything else that we need to know. UFC, so this is where you would change your code on the laser. Hit that up here. You would want to change laser track or laser target designator code. So you'd click this and then put in 1688. If you were being lased by somebody else, this is the code that you're searching for. So you want to hit that button and then whatever code their laser is set to. Alright, so now that we've done that, we are all set to go. I'm going to get rid of my autopilot functions. Press the ATC is now gone. And we'll get turned back around. We just lost the picture because we are masking it. So when we come around on this, obviously we'll line our velocity vector up with the drop line, and then you want to about 10 seconds, 5 seconds before time to drop, you want to press your pickle button, your weapon release, because if it will automatically drop it on time as long as you have the button pressed and giving it permission to drop. If you press it, try to time it on 0, you're gonna miss and it's not gonna come off. So you want to press it before the drop cue falls on the drop line to your velocity indicator. So we got 30 seconds to release. Get ourselves lined up. You don't have to be perfect, within a couple of degrees, but obviously the closer the better. 15 seconds to release. Seven. Drop line's coming down. Press the pickle button. Weapon away. Laser set to auto. And these GBU-10s are very heavy and makes the plane want to go crazy. But we just want to keep, like with the lantern in the F-14, you just want to keep the laser unmasked so you can see the dot. You don't want that to get close to the edges because the plane will mask it. So just flying right over top now. The laser target designator is flashing, which means it's auto lasing. 2, 1, 0. Kaboom! So we didn't get them all, but that put a hurting on them for sure. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put auto throttle back on, barometric hold back on, and attitude hold on. And we're going to turn around. So now we've done that. With the TDC slew, I can now, without undesignating that target, because if I undesignate it, it's going to slave it right back to where it was. So I don't want to undesignate. I just want to slew the can. Well, we're going to wait for it to get turned around so I can see what I'm doing. But basically, if you undesignate, what's going to happen is it's going to slave it back to your velocity vector. So if you know there's more targets in the area, say I wanted to take out those other bunkers that I didn't get, I just readjust from that target designation versus undesignating and having to find them again. But in this case, I'm going to be a little silly and try to drop the... Whoa, what is going on? It's attitude hold making me turn like that. No, we don't want that. We don't want to roll completely inverted. It's not beneficial. Okay, so there, it's back on those targets. Not perfect because it got a little out of whack, but we're gonna come up here. And looky there, there's a ship. And that's a good point track. So now, the same thing. I am going to swap from mode, though. I'm going to swap mode to manual. Now, it's important to know every time you drop a bomb in lays, you have to re-flip this switch right here. I have that mapped to my pinky trigger, so now it's on. So now the laser is armed again. And it doesn't matter if you're in auto mode or manual mode. Every time you laser a target, you're going to have to reset it. It's a safety to keep you from burning out the laser, from what I understand. So same concept here. Fly the drop line. Press the pickle button. Bombs away. I didn't press trigger, so now I have to press trigger up here because I'm in manual mode. And laser in 13 seconds. So you have a countdown to when you need to laze, and then you have a countdown from there to impact. So 3, 2, 1, pulling the trigger. LTDR is flashing, means I'm lasing. And 1 to impact anytime now. Kaboom, dead ship. Anyway, guys, short and brief. Big things to take away from that are must always toggle the laser after every drop. And the CCD mode on the Litening pod is not very useful to me. I always flip it to FLIR first thing. White hot seems to be the best for most situations, although black hot's really cool to watch the explosions. And then setting up your codes. You can put, like I said, you can put waypoints in, and it will be able to waypoint designate. So if you're going after static targets, but I have to figure out exactly how to do that. Anyway, guys, other than that, the ATC throughout the automatic throttle control is really cool. Let's go on a gun run just because we can. Important to note, if you move the throttle at all, you lose your ATC. If when you put it back in roughly the same spot, actually, no, it doesn't come back. So if you move the throttle at all, you lose your ATC.
Altitude. Altitude.
Oh no, I don't know why. There we go. Well, I said we'll go full bar. Oh, let me show you the tanks before I get all distracted. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it in full burner. That seems pretty stable there. Alright, so let's go back and check out our fuel. Alright, so you see now, still have 2,000 gallons in the center tank. I'm down to 800 on, well, 900 on each wing tank. But your wing tanks are going to be left inside and right inside stations. To jettison them, you can flip over to jettison stores, select the 2, jettison. So those 2 are now gone. And you can see now I'm pulling out of my nose tank. But if I switch this back to normal, now I'll start drawing out of my center tank. It will actually refill because it's cross-feeding back into the nose tank. Or tank 1, I don't know where it's at actually. So if you forget to do that and you're like, oh crap, you know, you're low on fuel here, when you flip it over, it'll just suck all this fuel back into your interior tanks, and then you can drop this. You just won't have it very long. You just won't fly with the center tank very long. But that way you can get rid of your wing tanks first. Learn that on a long flight and getting engaged without having burned off all the fuel. Had to drop all 3 tanks with like 600 gallons in them, or 600 pounds in them. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'll see you later. Hope it helped some of you guys with this. And yep, we'll keep going forward. Everybody's getting better.